Hi everyone, this is Harriet Claire in California, zone 910, and I planted beluga lentils. They're considered to be one of the best lentils. In fact, they're considered like a caviar. They're packed with protein, they're high in fiber, and they have a long shelf life. And they taste very, very good. I cooked them before I took a seed and planted it. And this is what they look like. They were planted, the beluga was planted in July on the 23rd. My regular lentils were planted on the 21st. I'm not sure if they're going to be climbers. They really should be a bush, but we'll have to see. So as we tour my balcony, you see that I have my celery. I've been growing it for quite some time. Back here in the corner, I have a sweet potato. I have some Russian kale. I just planted some more of the Paris Island lettuce on the 21st. Here I have a red Brussels sprout growing. You see it? Right there. And back there in the corner, I have a cucumber. It's called a muncher cucumber. I wasn't very successful earlier in the year. Everything seemed to be growing so slowly. And even my watermelons, I tried it 3 times and it was not a success for me, so I gave it up. Here in the corner, you see some of my, these are the mustard greens. I've been eating off of them. This is some of the Paris Island that I just planted on the 18th. I had, as I said, things were not growing very well for me this whole past 2 seasons. There's some more that I just planted. Here you can see where I had planted one of those mustards back in March. You see that? It didn't come up. So today it's going to be sharing with the garlic chives that I planted this morning. Here you can see some of my romaine lettuce. I've got one broccoli that has germinated and is growing right here. Back here in the corner, there's some more of the cucumbers, and I'll let you see they are growing. I'm going to have some cucumbers. And because my weather is so strange, I'm going to just let them grow as they want until they stop, because I need the groceries. At least I want the groceries. Here is my asparagus, and I believe I'm really going to get some asparagus this year. This is the Martha Washington asparagus that I planted. As you can see, it's growing. Over here is my mustards that I started planting back in June. Again, I cut and ate off of them for a while, and then I planted some more right here. These are the Morris collards that I planted in June. Here is some more of my mustards that I've been eating off of. And as you can see, it still has new growth on it, so I'm gonna let it grow. Today I planted some garlic chives. I planted garlic last year too. I got a couple, but not enough. I don't have the room to really grow them, so I decided to grow the chives instead. One of my young friends loves arugula, so I'm planting arugula for her. And it has come up. I planted it on the 14th of August back there. This one was empty and is empty. I haven't decided what all I'm going to put in there. I've got the zinnias still growing, and I've got one of the beets still left. It was the Detroit beets, and I harvested them, so this one is empty. And here I have a green finger okra that I planted from seed. It is growing. Some more arugula. I planted on the 14th right here is Swiss chard, and I'm waiting for it to come up. I've got to really come out and water at least twice a day. Here I've got a Caesar lettuce. Only one has come up. I believe this is a flower. I had a lot of marigolds. I pulled them out, all except for the one right over here. Here I've got a baby bubba okra that's growing. I planted some Swiss chard back here on the 14th. I've got some blue kale, dwarf blue kale growing here. I believe this is a Brussels sprout called catskill that I planted back on the 7th of, wasn't June, but it was actually earlier this year on 5/7. Here I've got a black-eyed pea that is coming up. I planted it on 4/30. And again, everything is growing so slowly. Like back here in the background, you can see I've got I believe it is one of those red Brussels sprouts. And it is doing very, very well. It seems to be in the right spot. So again, this is a tour of the balcony. I've got the broccoli rabe that I planted on the 21st. I have 3 of them in here. I've got some dwarf blue curly kale that I planted on 8/14, and as you can see, they've already started to grow. My plants tend to be leggy because this is a covered, shaded balcony, but the food still grows. I planted some turnips on the 23rd, and they have grown up and germinated. Those 2 are empty. I haven't planted anything. I'm still deciding what I'm going to plant there. Here is the dwarf okra. It's a baby bubba. Okay. Here I have the Cicero broccoli that I planted on the 21st. It's struggling, but it's a good broccoli for me. It usually grows well. Here I have another okra. I planted this dwarf blue kale back in March, and as you can see, it has not grown at all. And that's what I was talking about. Nothing really grew for me this previous season. Back here, I originally had the beans. Now I have black beans. And you can see I planted it from seed, and the seed is at the top, and I've got these 2 that are growing. So I'll probably, if they trail, I'll trail them up this right here. Up here I have my thyme, some more lettuce. I planted the garlic chives this morning, and of course I keep oregano. I grow a lot of oregano. This is my peppermint. I make peppermint tea. I'm trying to grow chamomile because I also make tea out of chamomile. This is again some of that arugula that's doing very well. I had planted some cumin in this container, but it did not grow. So I'll either be replanting it or we'll just see what happens. Down here in the bottom, I'm trying to grow some ginger. It's still green, so we'll see what happens. This is what I really wanted to show you that is possible to do growing on a balcony in the shade, in a covered balcony. You see that? Those are my figs. It's a black mission fig, and I've got a lot of them. Last year I only had 3. This year, as you can see, I've got a lot. Grow your own food. Grow your own food wherever you have room. If it's in a windowsill, if it's in a lighted corner in your bedroom, wherever you have room. You see that collard over there? I plan on eating off of it real soon. Here's some more of my lettuce. I had stopped growing lettuce, but this, in just a few days, immediately started to grow. So within a couple of more days, I'll be able to eat some lettuce that I grew on a balcony. God bless you. God loves you. Grow your own food.